Siddur Snippet series is generously sponsored by the Saka family and sponsored by Ayelet and Avram Foreman. We are on the bracha of V'LiYerushalayim Ircha. We give a long introduction. We begin to examine the words of the bracha itself. Not V'LiYerushalayim Ireinu, our city. We refer to it as Ircha, Hashem, as your city. We are specifically positioning this bracha, unlike the others in the Amida, as not only being in our interest, not only meeting a need that we have, but for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for the Almighty to be manifest in this world, for His presence to be felt intensely, for the world to acknowledge His dominion, His sovereignty, His providence. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to return to Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim, as we discussed in the introduction, not only a geographic place, but Yerushalayim, a theme, Yerushalayim, a concept, Yerushalayim, a mindfulness. And then we ask Hashem, V'sishkon b'socha ka'asher dibarta. We ask Hashem to dwell within Yerushalayim, just as you have spoken, ka'asher dibarta, which if you think about it for a moment, and we've all had ample opportunities saying these words 3 times a day for all of our lives, if you think about it, what is the words ka'asher dibarta? Hashem, we ask you to return to Yerushalayim and to dwell in it, ka'asher dibarta, just like you said, just like you've spoken. It takes a little brazenness. It's almost a little chutzpah, a little gall to say ka'asher dibarta, just like you said. We have to remind Hashem of His plan. We're reminding Hashem of His promise. We're reminding Hashem of what He said. Why are we invoking? What do these words, Kasher Dibarta, really mean? So one approach could be, Kasher Dibarta means that unlike the other parts of the Amida that we ask for ourselves, we want health, we want parnasa, we want knowledge, we want all the other personal, individual needs that we ask for, they're our agenda. They represent our needs. But as we said, V'LiYerushalayim is not Ireinu, V'LiYerushalayim is Ircha. We'll get to Chisei David Meher L'Socha Tachin. This is the bracha, first of 2. Once upon a time, as we mentioned from the Yerushalmi, they were combined. Now they're separate and apart. But this is the first of 2 that we're asking for Geula. We're asking for redemption. So Hashem, redemption is part of your plan. Even if we're unworthy, even if we're undeserving. Nevertheless, Kasher Dibarta, this is part of your plan, and all we're asking is that may you make good. All we're asking is that you follow through on your plan. The Vilna Gaon, the Gra, in his Avnei Eliyahu, says on the words Kasher Dibarta that what we're asking is because it's out of order. The Gra is paying attention to the bracha. Sishkon b'socha Kasher Dibarta, uvnei osa b'karav yameinu binyan olam. Dwell in it, just like you promised, and build it quickly in our day, an everlasting building. What order should it be? Do you first ask Hashem to dwell and then you ask Him to build it? Or build it and then the structure, the house, the Beis HaMikdash, the Bayis Shlishi, that'll be roi, that will be worthy of your dwelling, then we could ask. Really it should be Uvnei Osa B'karav Yameinu and V'sishkon B'socha, dwell in the building that we just asked you to build. Why are we out of order? The Gaon and the Gra is picking up on. V'sishkon b'socha, dwell in it as you said is your plan. Oh yeah, also build it speedily, quickly in our day, and let it be everlasting. Let it be something that continues. So the Vilna Gaon explains, why is it out of order? It's not out of order. The assumption that Hashem won't dwell there, that His presence can't be felt until we have the Bayis Shlishi, until we have the building, is wrong. It's incorrect. There can be a Hashras Hashchina, there can be a divine presence. We know the Medrash tells us it never left the Kosel, it never left the Kotel, the fourth wall, the supporting wall of our Abayis. We have a tradition, the Medrash Chazal go all the way back and tell us Hashem Shechina's presence never left. And that's why it remained intact. The Shechina remains there, says the Gra. So, V'sishkon b'socha, Hashem, you can come back and your presence can be felt and we can connect even before the building returns. Even before the Bayis Shlishi descends, even before we have the third Beis HaMikdash, we can still feel your presence. We can still bask in your light. You can still return. You can still come back. And he points us, the Vilna Gaon and his son, point us to a pasuk. The pasuk says in Vayikra Chavav, pasuk says, V'hashimosi es mikdoshechem, I'll make desolate your mikdash, your sanctuaries, which Chazal explained to mean that we'll still have sanctuaries. The Shekhinah will be there in some form, even when the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed. Even though I'll destroy your Beis HaMikdash, the Shekhinah will still be there. So we ask Hashem, even before the building, even before we get to Uvnei Osa B'karav Yameinu, nevertheless, let us be worthy of having you there and being able to go and be present and access, which we weren't always able to do over the last 2,000 years. Interestingly, specifically, we couldn't do from 1948 to 1967, even after we got sovereignty over Israel, not all of Israel, and not this most holy special place of Israel. We haven't always been able to be near the Sishkon Besocha. Sishkon is Shechina. We haven't always been able to access your presence, your Shechina, even before Uvnei Osa B'Karav Yameinu. Reb Chaim Friedlander, the Rinas Chaim, points out that this is logical, it's compelling, the inside of the Gra, and we all know it. And how do we know it? That Hashem Shechina is there even before the building. How do we know it? Because there's a Kedusha. There's a sanctity to Har HaBayis, to Makom HaMikdash, that limits our ability to go there. Are there parts you can go? Can you not go anywhere there? The Rabbanut, who are the Morda'as of Eretz Yisrael, said nobody should go, even to the parts potentially you could go, because of fear people won't go to the mikvah, won't go properly, won't remove their leather shoes. Whatever a person's personal perspective or psak, or what psak they follow about going on Har HaBayis, but certainly the majority, the overwhelming majority, the Makom HaMikdash of Har HaBayis, we can't go to. Why can't we go to? I guess we'll pick up tomorrow night, because the Kedusha remains. Which Kedusha remains? We'll take a little tangent tomorrow night. Is the Kedusha of Yoshua, Ezra, Nehemiah? Where does the Kedusha stem from? There's Kedusha. If there were no Kedusha, we could go back on right now. We can't go on Har HaBayis because there's still a Kedusha. That Kedusha on Har HaBayis today, even preceding, even in between the second and third Batei Mikdash, is a fulfillment of a Sishkon Besocha before Uvnei Osa. So the Gra sees, seemingly it's out of order, but it's not. It's such a positive and hopeful message for us, is even as we daven, even as we long, even as we yearn, even as we wait for the third Beis HaMikdash, it doesn't mean that until then we're orphaned. Doesn't mean until then we're on our own. V'sishkon b'socha kasher dibarta. Just like you said and just like you promised Hashem, you can still be there even before you're building